Yo, this is Deontay the Bronx Bummer Wild, the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. And I'd like to give a big shout out to CJ Goodfellow, Sports TV. Bomb Squad.
All right, man. It looks like Keith Thurman and Errol Spence is on the way. From what I'm reading between the lines, if you didn't watch the live last night, you truly missed. Sorry, you truly missed a treat there. So, let's get into the details. Right, some things you may not know, some things you may know, but we all know that Keith Thurman is number one in the WBC. I'm gonna tell you what happened and why Keith Thurman said he knows he's the backup plan for Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. Okay, so apparently if you don't know this, Al Haymon paid fighters to drop their belt. All right, he paid Quiller Pillin to drop his WBO belt because he paid him to drop his WBO belt because he didn't want to do business with Jay-Z. Come on. He didn't want to do business with Jay-Z and Rock Nation. So he dropped the belt. He dropped the belt. He gave him $500,000 was the rumor to drop the belt. Peter Quillen talked a little bit about it on Netflix. Boxing documentary had him, Christopher Colbert, somebody else, and another amateur guy in it, and it was called Counterpunch. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty good. And long story short, he came back, fought Andy Murray for the belt because Andy Murray beat Matt Korobov off of Demetrius Andrade, passed up Matt Korobov, and he fought a draw with Andy Lee, even though he dropped Andy Lee like 3 times. But majority decision, whatever it was, Andy Lee had the title. He ended up getting knocked out by Danny Jacobs, and his boxing career was over with. So Al Haymon gave $500,000 not to work with Jay-Z. Apparently, he gave Keith Thurman money to drop the WBC belt. Like I said last night, my first question: what took so long? What took so long? Why did he wait so? And I'm guessing he waited so long. If we being honest, we guessing because he waited so long was because he was probably waiting to see Keith Thurman get healthy. But my thing was cool, all right. But when you see him boxing the streets in the pause when he's supposed to be over there, enjoying himself and getting healthy, you see him boxing the streets in the pause, then you was supposed to you know what I'm saying? You was supposed to pay him to drop that belt then and there. And Errol Spence had to suffer out of all of this. But then again, Errol Spence still needs that WBA belt. So I'm guessing, had Keith Thurman, gave up the belt earlier, right? And he gave up the belt earlier. I'm guessing, Pacquiao and Spence probably would have happened. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm guessing Pacquiao and Spence probably would have happened. So that's what you're probably looking at. Pacquiao and Spence would have happened. And that's probably would have been the game plan. But nonetheless, so here we go. So it says, blank, have you heard anything on Spencer Crawford fight? He said 3 key things are holding up the fight. Al wants Crawford to sign with him, the money, and Keith Thurman. He said, what the F did Thurman has to do with this? He said Haymon paid Thurman to drop the last title after his loss to Manny Pacquiao. Right? I think it was before the loss, excuse me. It was before the losses. Al told Thurman that he will get his title shot when he comes back. He said Thurman and the rest of the PBC fighters, well, then again, here you go right here. Thurman has been begging for a fight, but he has been pricing himself out, asking for $10 million. Broken English here. Thurman and the rest of the PBC fighters do not control their career to ask for that kind of money. Al Haymon is asking for 10, so don't bash Keith. He has nothing to do with nothing. They just show up and fight. Then, I kind of asked, how's Keith Thurman holding it up? Thurman and the rest of the PBC, okay, excuse me. He says that Al told Thurman that he gets a shot when he comes back after his tune-up, but it's a high demand for Spence and Crawford. So it would sound like, so pretty much Keith Thurman is promised a title shot. When he dropped his WBC title, he was promised a title shot. There you go. He was promised the title. He promised a shot back at his WBC title. Thus, he's now the number one contender after being rated outside the top 50 in the WBC. We got videos about him being rated outside the top 50 of the WBC. Don't forget that. Keith Thurman, we went through the whole rankings. Keith Thurman was nowhere to be found in the top 50. So Al Haymon paid him to drop that belt. He paid him to drop that belt. He went from outside the top 50 defeating Barrios, who was making his 147-pound debut, if my memory serves me correctly, to being number one. Outside the top 50 to being number one. And obviously the WBC had to be in on that contract too, and probably got a bag for it. And they probably got a bag for it. So magically he pops up at number one. Magically. Come on, how'd that work? He made, Al Haymon and him made a deal. Come on. Come on. So that's just what it is. That's just what it is. So there you go. Why are you saying Keith Thurman, the fall guy, and all that stuff? People saying, I don't believe it. It's unbelievable. Cool. Proof's in the pudding right here. He's number one. So how you become number one? Right? After fighting a dude moving up to 147 pounds to make his debut who never held a WBC title, and you beat him and you become number one. You wasn't even ranked inside the top 50. Come on. How does that work? How does that work? So let's see. Y'all want to know why Keith Thurman factor? This is what they holding off for. You think Al Haymon want to pay Keith Thurman and step aside, pay Keith Thurman to fight on another card? So then you got to pay Keith Thurman twice. You got to pay Spence a bunch of money. You got to pay Crawford a bunch of money. And don't forget, you got to pay Stayonis a bunch of money. Don't forget that. Because Stayonis is also stepping aside. He's the mandatory to Earl Spence. And it's another rumor out there saying that Al Haymon wants Terrence Crawford to fight Keith Thurman first. It's another rumor saying Al Haymon wants Terrence Crawford to fight Keith Thurman first. Come on. And push the Spence back to 2023. And I guess Spence will fight Stayonis. But they can't put that on pay-per-view. So I guess he's going back to regular TV. I guess he'd be going back to regular TV. That's what I'm guessing. He had to go back to regular TV. So I don't know. Well, it's put to me they can't do that Stayonis fight because it can't be on pay-per-view. But maybe they put it on regular TV. Maybe be his last fight, their last Fox fight, to get Fox to stay interested and renew. But I think they passed that. So I mean, like I said before, so it's deep. My thing is, maybe he thought he was gonna be healthy, bro. That's the only thing I could think about. Maybe he thought he was gonna be healthy, and when he didn't get healthy, fat. And Keith Thurman was BSing. He was over there fighting. He was in love. Cool, cool. He was in love. But Al Haymon should have been stripped him. But it is what it is. But it's you rather wait and see, than rather than pay somebody to drop a belt. So how much control do Al Haymon really got? It sounds like he let them do what they want to do. That's my humble opinion. It sounds like he let them do what they want to do. I remember my dad was tired of my afro and he paid me to cut it. But I didn't cut it because he paid me to cut it. This girl at school told me to cut it and I liked her. So I cut it. Yeah, I learned from that mistake, trust me. Now she a bulldog. What Rick Ross say about 50 Cent mama? She was a bulldog. That was kind of hilarious. Right? But nonetheless, man, with Keith Thurman, man. Like I said before, that's probably why the Keith Thurman fight gonna happen next. Like I said, Bud Team said it's gonna happen this year, but they talking about three things in a way. Once again, obviously the money, and we gained some more problems. So I don't know if they solved the rematch clause or whatever came with the rematch clause. I don't know if they saw that. Okay, I can't tell you if they solved that, but like I said before, it said the money, Keith Thurman, what else it was. I remember we should be better than this. Hold on. It said the money, three key things holding up the fight: the money. Al wants Crawford to sign with him, the money, and Keith Thurman. So it don't sound like Crawford want to sign with him. Now you've been hearing rumors that that Terrence Crawford don't like the way they pay out their money. Now they just been street internet rumors, and that he don't want to sign over long term. Now I also have heard too. Okay, I also have heard too that not only just that. All right, not only just that, he he want that Jermell Charlo fight after that. And he just said it in Dallas when they asked him. He want that Jermell Charlo fight. That's what he want. He wants the Jermell Charlo fight. And I was told to me a while ago that Al Haymon is not going to give him Charlo and Earl Spence. Now, some people might say, well, why don't Al, if they do fight, why don't Al, put them on, why don't Al Haymon put them, put Theonis and Thurman on the undercard? Think about it, bro. You paying them 4 times a piece. So that's not going to happen. You paying them 4 times a piece. So think about that for a minute. You paying Theonis step aside money because Earl Spence not fighting him. Then you paying him to fight on the card. Then you fighting Keith to pay step aside money. Then you paying Keith to fight on the card. Come on, Al Haymon. They don't. The boxers, boxing promoters don't spend money on cards. Y'all do know that, right? They do not spend money on cards, undercard, because it come out their pocket. The network usually front the money for the network usually front the money for the main event, and the promoter usually pinch off that bag and pay as minimum as possible for the fight card, for the fight undercard. That's why the undercards be trash. That's why the undercards be trash. That's why the undercards be so whack Arnold's. Because it come out their pocket. That's why. Riddle me that bet, man. So I mean, he don't want to sign over. It's rumors that he don't like the way they pay out over there, and he don't want to wait for his back end money or two other checks that come in down the line. And then also, I heard he wanted Jamil Charlo fight in the contract, and they won't put that in the contract neither. So I mean, there you go, right there, man. Let me know what you girls and guys think. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Next subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance, get notifications. We go live or drop a video. Financial and support the channel. Cash App $ CJ Good 313. Venmo CJ Good 313. PayPal link in the description. Check me out on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, excuse me. All that's inside my link tree. Make sure you hit the link tree, man. Support me. Appreciate the love, support. One time for the one time, Goodfella TV. Check the Boxer Rumor welterweight playlist. One time for the one time. Peace.